3 weeks today. The spring statement. Or is it the grim statement? The moment Rachel Reeves' own watchdog marks how she's doing against her borrowing targets. And we find out how much she'll need to cut. Back in October, she set really tough borrowing targets so that from 2029, everyday government must be financed by taxes, not borrowing. Look, not achieved through this entire period. And then the plans only manage it by historically a tiny margin. And since January, as Ed Conway and me kept saying, things have got worse. The lines we were pointing to at in January showed borrowing going up and GDP growth disappointing, potentially wiping out that £9.9 billion of headroom, which would mean emergency cuts to get herself back on track. But here's a new thing. I've learned that she is going to have to take action if that £9.9 billion is squeezed at all. The Treasury doesn't think this margin for error can get any smaller. That means more cuts to public services and welfare. Look how tight planned Whitehall budgets already are. Public spending up from 2026 by a meagre 1.3%. And with some bits like health gobbling up more, that'll mean cuts in other areas. It's almost certain the Chancellor will need to squeeze future public spending further. Maybe as low as a 1% rise, the same planned by the last Tory government. What does that mean for this Labour's manifesto? Well, cabinet ministers tell me this means more promises junked. Some in government fear Rachel Reeves is being allowed to keep her pledge not to raise most taxes by making colleagues break theirs. This woman, well, she's having to change her plans. A month ago, the Work and Pensions Secretary, Liz Kendall, was not going to announce firm savings at the spring statement. Now, it seems she will, and a big row looms there. So number 10 and number 11 have a 4-point plan to get back on the front foot. New welfare proposals with expected changes to benefits. A big announcement on slimming down the civil service. Keir Starmer will make a show of tearing up some red tape regulations. And next week, Angela Rayner publishes her planning bill to get Britain building. This is the poppy strategy. Plant tall poppies to make sure that the tallest one, the bad news on borrowing, doesn't look too exposed. Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves working in lockstep. But elsewhere in Whitehall, they're worried. Is the public ready for more pain and more U-turns?